Recently, I bought a colony of Bloody Mary shrimp, and over the past few days, I've been losing 1 or 2 shrimp every single day, and I need to work out why before the whole colony dies. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the exact process I use when trying to work out why my shrimp are dying. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Richard, and I'm the author of the Neocaridina Shrimp Handbook. When it comes to working out why my shrimp might be dying, the first thing I do is spend some time observing those shrimp. Are there any visual clues as to why the shrimp might be dying? Do they have a pest or a disease? Is there a fungus growing on them? Have they got white fungus on their rostrum or green fungus appearing to grow underneath their bodies? Is there a pest in the tank such as planaria or dragonfly nymphs, dragonfly larvae that are catching and eating the shrimp? Spending some time actually sitting and looking into your shrimp tank will probably give you the first visual clues as to what's wrong. And if you can see a clear disease, a clear fungus, something that might be killing your shrimp, then get some pictures and head to your local store, or hit the forums or the internet web pages, or look up the section in my book on pests and diseases and work out what that fungus is, what that pest might be, and how to best go about treating it. Now, in this case, I've spent an age looking into my Bloody Mary tank, which sits just behind the camera here, and I can't see any pests. I can't see any disease. The bodies of the shrimp don't give me any clues as to why these shrimp might be dying. There are no signs of fungus. There are no outward signs of issues, and I certainly don't appear to have any pests that might be killing my shrimp. So in this case, I don't think it's a pest or a disease that might be killing the shrimp. So the next thing I have to consider is, could a predator be killing my shrimp? Now, we briefly touched there on dragonfly larvae or dragonfly nymphs that will take and kill a shrimp. They will catch and eat a shrimp, no problem at all. And you can have other pests like planaria. Now, there's a lot of debate. Does planaria actually kill shrimp? Some say yes, some say no. What about hydra? Some sources say hydra will kill baby shrimp. Others say you have it in your shrimp tank, it's not a problem at all. In this case, I can't see any predators that might be killing my shrimp. Sometimes when we keep shrimp with fish, we see our shrimp numbers are dwindling. We don't typically see the bodies, and that's because the fish are eating the shrimp, and especially the baby shrimp. If you have a colony of shrimp with fish and you never see any babies, the chances are the fish are picking off the babies. But in this case, these Bloody Mary shrimp, they're in a 12-inch cube, they're in a 30-centimeter cube all on their own. There are no predators in there. Now, whilst strictly not a predator, filters can also kill your shrimp. Filters can suck your shrimp in. If you have a hang-on back or a canister filter without a sponge over the intake, then that canister filter can suck up the shrimp, and again, you won't see the bodies, your numbers will just dwindle. But in this case, I'm running a sponge filter, so I don't think it's anything to do with the filtration. So at this point, I'm clearly no closer to finding out why my Bloody Mary shrimp might be dying. I don't believe it's a pest or a disease, or certainly not one I can see visually. I don't believe there's a predator that might be eating the shrimp, and it's certainly nothing to do with the sponge filter I'm running. So the next thing I need to give some consideration to is, are the water parameters stable? I've said in pretty much every video I've recorded in the last 12 or 18 months, shrimp love stability. It's all about creating a stable environment. It's not about chasing exact temperature or pH. So this is a small tank. Could the water parameters be fluctuating? And in this case, I don't think they are. Firstly, temperature. I'm in a small temperature controlled room, which is well insulated. The room itself is heated. If I was running an individual heater in the tank, I would need to check, could that heater have failed? Could it be getting too hot and killing the shrimp? Could it have died and mean the water temperature is dropping too low and it's killing my shrimp? In this case, I don't think it's the case. Now, one thing I have encouraged shrimp keepers to do is to stop doing regular water changes just out of habit, and only do water changes when you need to. Perhaps do a water change when there's an ammonia spike. Perhaps do a water change if you notice there is something wrong in the tank. Maybe a contaminant has got into the water, and then yes, you would change the water. But when shrimp keepers constantly change the water once a week or even twice a week just out of habit, that does affect the water parameters, and that can lead to the deaths of your shrimp. But in this tank here, I haven't carried out a water change in a while. I don't carry out regular water changes. I only change water if I discover a problem when I test the water. So I don't think in this case, the parameters are fluctuating. So how would I know if I did need to do a water change? And how do I know the shrimp aren't dying because I do need to do a water change? And the answer is I test. using test strips, or you can use liquid test kits. I'm checking I haven't got an ammonia spike or a nitrite spike. I'm checking the nitrates haven't got to a point where they could be killing the shrimp. I'm checking there's not chlorine in the water, and none of these things. Every single parameter, certainly on the test kit I have, is absolutely normal and doesn't appear to be fluctuating from the last time I tested. So I don't think in this case it's anything to do with water parameters. Now, at the time of recording this video, I've had a short break from making YouTube videos. But as of today, I'm back and I'm going to be making 1 or 2 shrimp keeping videos every single week. So if you would like to up your shrimp keeping game and think you might enjoy 1 or 2 shrimp keeping videos every single week, then why not subscribe to the channel? So if I don't think my shrimp are dying because of a pest or a disease, and I don't think a predator or the filter is eating them, and I'm fairly sure that water parameters are stable and not fluctuating, leading to the demise of my shrimp, what do I need to consider next? And the next thing I need to consider is, could there be insufficient biofilm and insufficient algae growing in the tank, leading to the deaths of my shrimp? Now, yes, we feed our shrimp. I feed my shrimp a mixture. I feed Vibrance, I feed Snowflake pellets, I feed a wide range of different foods. But our shrimp want to spend the majority of their day picking biofilm from the glass of the tank and the rocks. They want to eat the starts of algae. They want to eat the microscopic life that is growing in our shrimp tanks. So whilst feeding our shrimp is important, we do need to make sure there's sufficient algae and biofilm growing in the tank before we add the shrimp. If I had added these shrimp to a new tank and they were dying, then one of the things I would need to consider is there sufficient biofilm? Is there sufficient algae? Has the tank had long enough to season before I added the shrimp? I don't think you should add shrimp until the tank is at least 4 to 6 weeks old. And the longer you leave it, essentially, the better. Now, in this case, I don't think it is a lack of biofilm or algae that's leading to the death of my shrimp. This tank ran for many, many months before I added these shrimp because I had my black rose colony in here. Before I moved my black rose shrimp into the 20-gallon next door, they lived in this tank and they lived happily as far as I'm aware. So I don't think it's a lack of biofilm or algae that's leading to the death of my shrimp. So what do I need to consider next? Well, it could be they're dying because of the stress of being transported through the postal service. These guys were ordered mail order. They came through the post. And many people will tell you it could be because of improper acclimation. There are essentially 2 ways we can acclimate our shrimp. The drip method, where we slowly drip water from the tank into the bag or the container the shrimp were shipped in, allowing the water parameters to stabilize. Or you can use the plop and drop method, where you literally cut the top off the bag, pour it through a net, shrimp in the tank. And I come in for daily criticism because I use the plop and drop method. Almost every single day, someone will message me and tell me I'm a bad person. In fact, just yesterday, someone messaged me and called me a murderer because they had plopped and dropped their shrimp. Some of their shrimp had died, and that was entirely my fault because I had suggested the plop and drop method. Nothing to do with any of the other conditions of their tank or how they got their shrimp or the quality of their shrimp. It was purely my fault, but that's part of doing YouTube. You're always the bad guy. Now, if these guys were dying within a few days of being added to the tank, then yes, it could be the stress of going through the postal service. It could be due to improper acclimation. Although in my experience, not only have I plopped and dropped dozens of colonies, I've got 11 different shrimp colonies in this room alone, and every single one was plopped and dropped. Now, these are Neocaridina shrimp, which are typically a lot hardier than Caridina shrimp. But even so, I don't believe these shrimp are dying due to stress of going through the postal system or due to improper acclimation. So it must be something else. So another reason we lose our shrimp is due to essentially over-maintenance or constantly mucking about with the shrimp tank. No end of people seem to set up their shrimp tank, put the shrimp in, and then change the light settings, turn the temperature up, turn the temperature down, change the filter, add a filter, put some plants in, move some rocks around, add a SpongeBob pineapple house, take that back out because it looks stupid, muck about with this, do a water change. Constantly mucking about with the tank can be a shrimp killer. As I said before, shrimp love stability. And if we're constantly mucking about with these tanks, we're constantly changing the temperature, mucking about with the filter, adding things, taking things away, we disrupt that stability. And that can genuinely cause your shrimp to die. Now, in this case, I don't think that's the case. Once I moved the black rose colony out, the tank ran empty for probably a couple of 3 weeks. My Bloody Mary shrimp arrived, I plopped and dropped them in, and they've been fine for 3, 4 or more weeks. I bought 30 shrimp. I appeared to have 25, 30 shrimp still living quite happily. It's often hard to count your shrimp because you never see them all at once. They'll be behind the filter, behind the rocks, in the plants. I appear to have a good colony. It's only in the last few days I've started to spot, a body on the substrate. Next morning, 2 bodies on the substrate. Next day, 1 body on the substrate. So I don't think in this case it is due to me constantly mucking about with the tank. If in your own tank you're losing shrimp and you are constantly trying to change things, tweak things, move things around, that can lead to the death of your shrimp. And I know if you're new to the hobby and you're losing shrimp, you can sometimes go into panic mode and you do think, maybe it's temperature, maybe it's lighting, maybe it's plants, maybe it's rocks, maybe it's filter. The best thing to do is to leave your tank to be stable. And in this case, I don't think that's why my Bloody Mary shrimp are dying. So I think that takes us to the final potential reason, and probably the reason my Bloody Mary shrimp are dying, and that's due to some sort of a toxin has entered the water. Now that sounds scary, a toxin entered the water. In reality, sometimes we might add a fertilizer that isn't shrimp safe and that can kill our shrimp. Or we might use medications designed for fish and they are not safe for shrimp and they can prove fatal to our shrimp colony. Now in this case, I haven't done either of those things. I use premium nutrition fertilizer from Tropica. I've used it for years and years. As far as I'm aware, has no detrimental effects on the shrimp. I also haven't used any medications or treatments that might lead to the death of my shrimp. However, these aren't the only routes a potential toxin can enter our shrimp tank. And in fact, the biggest culprits for me are my hands. I'm constantly washing my hands and keeping them clean. I get dry hands, so I use moisturizer. It's summer here in the UK, so I use sun cream. And what can happen if we're not careful is we can put a bit of sun cream on or something, whatever it might be, and then 20 minutes later, doing something in the shrimp tank, and we end up putting that toxin, that chemical into the water. Maybe we've used cleaning products. Maybe we've used a fly spray or something that kills wasps or whatever it might be around the home, and we end up getting that in our shrimp tank. And in this case, I think that's the most likely reason my shrimp are dying. So what do I do? How do I solve this problem? I can't test for every potential toxin to see what might be wrong. So what I have done, this is the perfect time that you would do a water change. This is exactly when we would water change. So yesterday, I drained down 50% of the water. I slowly topped it back up with tap water, added some dechlorinator, and all I can hope is that whatever was causing my Bloody Mary shrimp to die has been diluted by the water change. Today, I've come in, there are no dead bodies. Now, that doesn't mean I've solved the problem. They could have died behind the rocks. They could have died in the plant. But I've had a quick tot up. I can see about 22 shrimp, give or take. All I can do is keep an eye. If I lose some more shrimp, then I'll probably do another 50% water change. And I don't do water changes lightly because, as I say, it does affect the stability of your tank. But in this case, I have no choice. This is a very small tank, a very small enclosed ecosystem, and there is no way for that toxin to leave the system apart from water changes. So all I can do at this stage is to keep an eye on the shrimp, is to feed them well, keep their water as stable as I can, and hope that whatever was causing the problem, I've solved it. Hope that the remaining Bloody Mary shrimp will be absolutely fine. Now, I will do an update on this video. I will let you know how I'm getting on. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, then do subscribe so you can find out how I'm getting on. In the meantime, why don't you watch this video that YouTube thinks you might like? Thanks for watching.